Yo, what's good, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. So today we are finally done with exams. So I actually have more time to make videos and actually, put more effort into these videos and get proper, higher quality replays for you guys. So today we're going to be mainly looking at Radiant Typhoon or Magnificent. This deck, again, there are a lot of people who say that this deck is very bad matchup. We have a very bad matchup against them, which is partly true. It's not completely true because it depends on the pilot. If the pilot is good, you can actually do well against most matchups with Radiant Typhoon. If not, then you are gonna struggle to actually beat them because you don't know the proper cards you need, the interactions, and so on. Okay, and what cards to play around. So we'll be talking about all of this. I actually have a long video. I mean, long duel against them where we have multiple different cool interactions. And I'll show you how I'm actually sequencing my plays, right? And another thing before we hop into replays, I've seen tons of people ask why play an extra deck. Okay, first of all, playing an extra deck, that's the short answer. It's optional, you don't need an extra deck at all. If you want to be technical about things, the reason I play an extra deck is because sometimes things come up. For example, okay, it's always a what if scenario because usually you never summon anything from the extra deck. But what if opponent goes Dogmatica Maximus, makes me send 2 cards from my extra deck to the grave? What would I want to have in my extra deck in that moment? Cloud Beast, so it can be an interruption. Wind Pegasus, so if they out one of my cards, I actually spin one of their cards. You can have Ecclesia plus one of these, which is going to be able to target and shuffle something back that they control. You can have things, yeah, these are the main things. These are just flex spots, to be honest. I just play these. You can play Entis if you have it. This is not a perfectly crafted extra deck for that because I don't want to craft URs, obviously. And the extra deck just doesn't matter. The second reason is because in some niche scenarios, maybe, just maybe, you might need to go Werewolf. You might need to go Typhon. I have won Typhon twice, actually. But aside from this, I usually don't go SP. I don't go into anything else. Werewolf is it came up in TCG when I used to play, but it doesn't really come up almost ever. Okay, but in the scenario where you have your I guess monsters face up, you have no more field spells. They banish all of them. And you need to go for game now. Okay, you have 2 level 9s on the field, and they have a 3k monster or 3200, which is Murakumo, right? You can't swing over it with the monsters, and you have no way to pen scale your big monsters to pop it and even if you do, he's 32, so you can't even get over that. You go Werewolf, okay? Use your 2 level 9s, go Werewolf, and this can attack, while this card has material, it can attack a number of times each battle phase up to the number of materials attached. So if it has 2 mats, 2 attacks. Attack over Murakumo and then attack for game, okay? This is almost never going to come up. But if it does, this is what you do. And then you stack Typhon on top of that, okay? So, these are basically the reasons I play an extra deck, and obviously the D-barrier issue, because sometimes they see I have no extra deck, they immediately declare Pendulum, and I can't even special summon or do anything now, and I'm just completely screwed. This is low impact, because they can still wait to see if you what you're playing before they declare, so it's not 100% always gonna work. But these are the main reasons. If you don't want to play an extra deck, you can choose not to, and this will also play around Clip. So Cool Toon Clip is a card that can actually chain link block. They're small effects. So if we go Cool Toon here, the effects that trigger mainly in the graveyard, Rico and the Mix, they target to pop. They usually chain link block it with the Clip, so they will not be able to do that, meaning they will have to target your cards, triggering your Pixia, and then Pixia is going to be very good in that matchup. And technically they can trigger Tail as well, but Tail is less likely to be triggered because I'm most likely not even going to have it on the field at that point. But yeah, this is a reason not to play an extra deck. And then the other thing is Hecka Hands. I guess maybe if someone's playing Hecka Hands, they won't be able to steal cards from your extra deck, like a Baron de Fleur or something, and cook you that, right? Steal Mirror Jade, steal SP Typhon. And yeah, basically that's why you don't play an extra deck if you choose to. But again, at the end of the day, it's just optional if you want to do this or that. And final thing I need to talk about is Tail. Had a lot of people also talk about, okay, how do you protect yourself from destruction in the best of 1 formats? You don't. That's literally the answer. if you're like we're playing the World Championship qualifiers at the moment, and you basically want to build your deck in a way where you can maximize on consistency and the best way to play both going first and second at the same time, you want to still have a way to beat destruction effects, okay? But you don't want to go all in on that. What I mean by this is you don't want to play 3 tail and brick yourself. Tail is one of the most useless cards in the deck, but when it resolves, it's actually very powerful. But the issue is actually resolving this card, right? Not everything triggers this, and like things like Jerktail Pan don't trigger this, Urgula, and so on, right? Murakumo can be chainlink blocked easily, and they usually always chainlink block their effects. So player on tail, like it's hard to actually trigger this effect. So playing this is just going to be a brick. And people are saying like destruction cards like Raigeki, Dark Hole, no one is playing these, okay? You don't play around something that is a what if scenario. You play around it if all the top players are playing these cards. So I build this deck in a way I can beat Droplet, for example, because I play D-Fisher. So I don't play around Raigeki because Raigeki is not a card being played in the top decks. Does that make sense? But within the World Champion qualifiers, if there's more prevalence of board breakers and I actually start seeing that people are actually starting to run them to counter Enneacraft, now you tech in 2 more tails. Okay, you play 3 tail now. And now you actually put tail as part of your end board in every end board to play around these. Then people will be like, okay, well, shit, now our board breakers are not working. So they take out Raigeki, and then you are bricking on tail for no reason. Then you take out tail, and you play 1 tail, like this build, again, right? This is how it works in this like qualifier. You change up your deck based on what people are playing and like the environment that you're in at the moment, right? So I hope that clears things up. Like, it's not that I don't want to play more tails, it's just that it's useless most of the time. Unless people start teching in stuff. So if people start teching in evenly matched, I'll play something like Thunder of Ruler, right? So if we look at Thunder of Ruler, this says during your opponent's standby phase, you can activate this card. There is no battle phase this turn. They're evenly matched. It's completely gone, okay? And yeah, these are basically the things I want to mention. And now let's actually hop into some replays. This is mainly going to be focused on Radiant Typhoon. I think I have like a couple other replays, but again, the most important one is like this one. So let's actually look at his deck first. So he is, okay, this is my deck, of course. I keep forgetting that. So, yeah, let's get straight into this. So Radiant Typhoon is not, it's not the easiest matchup. It's not a free win like it is against other decks. You actually have to focus to be able to win. And you should be focusing anyway if you're, playing this deck, because like it's not just turn off your brain and play, which is what I like about this deck. So he's going first. He's going to go set Fallen Virtuous Poppet because he probably bricked and he needs to trigger his Grisea. So this tells me his hand is most likely board breakers. And he bricked on them. So I'm thinking Droplet Super Poly here. We'll see if we're correct. So he's going to go Eldum, and then he's going to summon, add a Swen, and then he... Let's see. So, okay, so he chose to pop Fallen Virtuous. Fallen Virtuous is actually a very powerful card. What this tells me is one of the other cards is either Fallen Virtuous or they're better than Fallen Virtuous. Which I would think Droplet is better, Super Poly is better. That's why I'm thinking it's these two, right? So then he goes MST. Now, you being able to actually read like all of these plays he's making gives you more information about your opponent. So like, it's not that you just sit here and wait for your opponent to combo and you don't actually read into these plays because, now I actually consider him having droplets and I consider him having super poly. So I actually play around these cards. Does that make sense? I'm not just YOLOing and being like, okay, well, wait, I don't know what he has. You actually like start to theorize what he could possibly have based on the plays he's making. Look at this play. Discards Fallen the Virtuous. What does that tell me? He already popped this one and then discards this one. This tells me he drew into it. It's the only quick play spell that he doesn't care about. And that solidifies the fact that he most likely has better quick play spells, right? Because if you have like a weak quick play spell, you just discard that one instead of Fallen the Virtuous. Because now he has no more access to Fallen the Virtuous. So either he has another one, the third one is already in hand, or he just doesn't care about it because the other cards are better. And what do they usually play? Droplet, Super Poly, and then another for board breaker would be Fallen the Virtuous. I don't think they play anything else, depending on their build, but these are the main three. So because he sets 4, I can anticipate that he has probably another Fallen Virtuous, Droplet, Super Poly, and something else. MST, right? He added MST. Yes, so this is what I'm thinking at that point. And he has 2 MSTs in the grave, which is actually important to look at because the where's the big monster? The one that negates this one, the Vortex. If you have 2 MSTs in the grave, it's actually going to pop your monster. This is very important because if you put a monster and they negate it and destroy it, you actually can't spin it back with a field spell, and like it actually hurts a lot, right? And with this hand, we drew Rebirth. I hate that we drew this because it's just dead, and then we draw double field spell, so that's not great here. Our hand is super mid here. Okay, so let's see what we have here. We are gonna draw into Trito. So I think against this matchup, the only real thing that triggers Trito would be this. If we read this effect, sometimes they go MST, pop their own card. If this card is destroyed by the effect of MST, you can set this card. So if he actually destroys this and then activates this in the grave, and it's not chainlink blocked, you can trigger Trito. This is unlikely to happen, so I'm not even gonna set this card. What about this one? If he adds or attempts to add, I'm gonna be able to like do something. This would actually trigger in response to this, because he shuffles back and then draws a card. So this draw actually triggers my Alazonia. Aside from this, there's nothing else that's going to trigger, because he is most likely not going to summon another one of these from the hand. I'm thinking like you always have to anticipate worst case scenario that he probably has like a, what's she called, the level 9 wind that like spins all of your back row or all of your face-up monsters to the hand. It's most likely this one. This is what I'm thinking here. Even if it's not, it's better to actually anticipate, right? And then these, none of them are actually going to trigger the Alazonia. So overall, you make the, I guess, judgment that it's not worth it to set Alazonia here. I actually need this as a starter, so I just don't even do it. So I'm going to activate this. Oh yeah, and the Vision, of course. Yes, Vision is going to trigger the Alazonia here. We actually saw him reset the Vision. I think I just missed that. So now what this tells me is that he most likely has MST, Droplets, and Super Poly, or Fallen Virtuous. So he can't have all 3 Fallen Virtuous, Droplet, and Super Poly. So he draws into 2 random cards, discards an Eldem. He could have drew into a hand trap here. He actually either drew into this or he already had it in hand. So this is a monster negate now, which is going to pop the monster as well. Watch this play. I set Mar, activate Field Spell. Why? That makes no sense, right? Because I actually am anticipating he goes Fallen the Virtuous or MST to pop my pen scale when I use it. And then I'm going to activate Mar. If he doesn't negate Mar with the Vortex and he goes like for something else to pop this, like a Fallen the Virtuous, what that means is I can actually spin back my Mar with the Field Spell. And then I can add it back to the hand and use it again. That way I can actually preserve my first effect to target and shuffle back my Pendulums. Okay? So let's see if this even comes up here. We're going to scale the Trito. We're going to attempt to activate. He goes MST. We were anticipating this. And then I thought for a moment here, is it worth it to go Mar and then he goes negate? I had to do this. This is not optional. My hand is not good. Based on how he activates his interruptions, I would most likely lose in this scenario. Unless he plays something differently, right? So we're going to go Mar to negate this. And then he goes Fallen the Virtuous. Because he went Fallen the Virtuous, I actually have a significantly higher chance to break his board now. He should have negated this and destroyed it, right? So this was a mistake he made that I can capitalize off of. So he goes Fallen the Virtuous, pop the Trito. That's completely fine. So what happens now is he's probably thinking like, okay, this is going to flip me face down. He should have anticipated this. Then on the new chain, I'm going to flip him face down. So he's going to have to negate this. But there is a factor he did not consider. This can actually chainlink block the Mar, so he can't negate. Okay? So we played this perfectly with that horrible hand that we had. So we go Mar to flip him face down, and then go Field Spell, Chainlink block it, so he can't negate that. Spin it back to the hand, and then this actually flips his face down, so he loses out on the negate now. He could have used this to negate a monster in the hand and destroy it, right? And now he loses that, which is huge for us. And then these are permanently face down. So now we can activate this, reset the Mar. So now we have a negate for his back row. He tries to bait me with this. I actually thought for a second, I'm not gonna lie, whether I want to negate this. And then I thought, okay, this is gonna reset itself. It's gonna have low impacts. I don't think it's worth it. I would rather he just like randomly has a chance to draw into a hand trap like Ash Blossom. Because I have Rebirth to YOLO draw to if this gets ashed and he draws into the Ash, right? So it's not worth it. I'd rather save the Mar for whatever this is, which I was thinking was droplets. Okay, so we're gonna activate the Alzonia. We're gonna go release because we need the follow up here. So we're gonna scale an Okinaria. These are weakest cards. I actually don't need. Okinaria is actually good. Like I would not say this is a weak card against them, but it has less value than some of the other cards, right? So this is the card I had in hand. This is a powerful card. It's not weak, but I had to scale it, so I have to get rid of it with the rebirth. So we're gonna add a Tromeria, and then we are gonna go rebirth to spin these two back. So the cards you really like in this matchup is Okinaria because it does trigger quite often. Alazonia, which is going to trigger a lot of the time because they add a lot of MSTs and so on. And then Tromeria would be nice. And these are the main three small monsters. As for big monsters, Mar is good on your turn. Atl can come up, although Atl has less value, I find, in these matchups. Because they can usually just like play around it. But if you catch them in a huge chain where they go MST, you negate, they chain another MST, and then chain this, and then you go Atl and get the entire chain, they're actually fucked. Like, this is probably a game-ending play if Atl comes up like this. Aside from this, Tail is also useful here. Pixia is probably the best one. And Leon can be very useful. So we're going to scale the Tromeria. We actually drew into an Orgia here, randomly off of the Rebirth, which means I can actually just search my big monsters. You guys see this? We are going to search the Pixia because it's the best in this matchup. Guarantee a Pixia, and now we can summon the Pixia. Just in case this is something that targets, which is unlikely because I'm thinking Super Poly droplets. So we go Orgia now, and we can search another one of our big monsters. So we reveal 3 Leon. And then we are going to go any Apollo, spin these two back, and now we can normal set the Tromeria, and then we can summon this and this. He actually had a toggle here, which I'm not sure what it was, because I have no monsters that he can spin back with this. There's nothing in his grave that's going to trigger. These are face down. He already used the effect to draw. So yeah, the only thing it could have been is this, because I don't think there's anything even activatable in the hand to have like a constant toggle. And Droplet, you can't... like, there would be no toggle with Droplet here, or Super Poly. Actually, there would be. Yes, okay, that's how I read it. Yes. Super Poly would have been more likely than Droplet here, because he had a toggle consistently, while I literally had everything face down. So he cannot Droplets. He already used Fallen the Virtuous. Unlikely to be MST, because I think 2 were engraved, he shuffled them back, and this is the 3rd one. So this can most likely only be Super Poly. And he confused with this with his face downs. Does that make sense? So I basically read that he has Super Poly, and I can play around Super Poly now. Like, you actually have to, like, think really hard to be able to, like, make these reads on the opponent. This was a mistake. Okay, I need to mention this as well. I should have activated Reset when I had the field spell, and I had Pen Scale, so I can actually permanently negate this. And then I would get the Reset engrave. I was thinking so hard about, like, what this could be, and, like, the cards in hand and stuff. I actually made a different play because I thought I actually can't use the effect. I forgot about the secondary effect. So what I do is I actually activate Field Spell and then activate another one to send this one to the grave, and then use this to put the one in grave back so I can get this in the graveyard. Does that make sense? It's that's a huge tongue twister, but just get the resetting grave, basically. So he goes Poland the Virtuous. This play is super suspicious. This tells me he has Droplet, but I know this is Super Poly, so he must have actually drew into Droplet here. So we're going to flip a Pixie because I have to. I actually need to push something into my back row to turn on my reset. We also have the Rebirth in the grave, of course. So I'm expecting Droplet here. Yes, he goes Droplet. With Pixia, you cannot dodge Droplets, okay? In most scenarios, at least. Unless, like, he activated something and then chained something else that targets, and then I go Pixia and chain this inherently to flip it face down, right? This would be an unlikely scenario. So with Pixia, usually it's going to get negated by Droplet. This is where Droplet is very powerful against you. Against Atl, if he had went Chainlink 3, like he is doing right now, right? If I activated something and then he chained something and I go Atl, he goes Droplets on Atl. He would actually just lose, right? Because I could actually just flip it face down if it was on a new chain like this, and then I would negate the entire chain, right? The difference between like these big monsters and the small monsters is big monsters actually don't usually trigger on a new chain. They don't have like a new chain effect, if that makes sense. Like, except Mar, right? Mar, after a split face up, it's going to be chain link 1 to flip everything face down. This has a continuous effect, so you're not gonna be able to make that play with reset to dodge droplet. Atl, same thing, right? And then the Orgia and all the small monsters usually have a mandatory effect, so you can use them to dodge droplet. And of course, Leon, Tail, they all just don't work here. So we are gonna get droplets in here, which is not great, but that's fine. We needed the Pixia. I can still access another Pixia. How? I can trigger one of these small ones, add a Pixia. He's going battle phase to attack over one of them. And then I can summon the Pixia from hand with Rebirth. So I think I actually prioritize adding the Rebirth here. He's going to attack. Mar has no effect because he's a Link monster. And then he goes Ecclesia of Black. Spins back my Tromeria. And then he is going to summon the Swen. Goes for Chant. Not looking great. We tried the best with the hand that we had. So then he goes Mandate to draw a card, and then he's going to shuffle everything back again. He's going to get a lot of advantage. And now we can go Rebirth, actually pop this, because I don't want him to trigger this effect to summon from deck. I most likely lose if I let him trigger this. So I have to immediately use this. Now, he's most likely not even going to trigger anything from the hand from this point on. Because Vortex is already engraved, and then the only thing that can trigger is like the other one that can like spin 2 cards back, which is this one, which he actually doesn't have. He never searched this, right? So he's gonna go SP now. You can see this actually ended his plays, going flip up Orgia. You don't always flip up Mar and these big monsters, or like this to floodgates. Sometimes you actually need to think about what would stop his turn, and Orgia here stopped his turn, okay? Then he goes SP Banish Leon. I actually have follow-up. This is why you always search release. We actually top deck another release, which is funny. So now we can go release here, and because it's a new turn and he didn't actually out the Pixia, even though it was negated on the previous turn, immediately on the new turn, it's going to apply its effect where he cannot target. So if he has Fallen the Virtuous, MST, all of these, they can't target. I know this is super poly, and then this is an unknown. So I'm actually thinking either MST or Droplet here. So I'm still thinking about Droplet. So we are going to go Trito. And then we are going to spin these 2 back. Add the reset. We want access to the field spell immediately. And also get another reset in the grave. So here's the thing about reset. This doesn't actually come up that often, but in scenarios like this, it does. This effect is not a hard once per turn. This is a soft once per turn. So because I have 2 copies, I can actually flip face down twice. Okay, let's just keep that in mind for later. So we go release for Alazonia. Our life points is going to be an issue soon because we have only 17, so we can only search 1 more time here. Which is why I actually reveal, I think, Tail and 2 other cards. I start actually going for Tail. Yes, Tail, Rebirth, and the Tromeria. Then we spin everything back. We actually got Tail, which is interesting. Tail's not necessarily going to be insane here, but it could give me more value. So then, look at this play. Okay, this is mega big brain play. And this is what I like teaching you guys about this deck. I could have lost this duel because if I didn't make this play. Why? Because I was thinking, if this is Droplets, and I attack over him, because I need to get rid of SP, right? If I attack over him, and this is Droplets, and I already search with the Orgia, and this will be my last search. I actually can't search anymore. I don't even have any more Pendulums, and no life points. And I lose the Pixia, I lose the duel. Straight up, I just lose. So I thought, you know what? I am going to actually play around Droplet here. I'm going to go Battle Phase, attack over this. If he has Droplets, he's going to use it in the damage step. This will be destroyed, and then I actually preserve my search. So I would get rid of Droplet, confirm he has Droplets, and then I can search another Pixia, right? Otherwise, I would be able to like search something else. Because I have Pixia, I'm most likely not going to search another Pixia, right? And then I would lose my Pixia, and I have nothing else to actually beat him here. And what do you know? He has Droplet. So we actually played perfectly around that. So now we're going to crash, take 100, which is fine. We can still search. And now we can search a Pixia. So we reveal Atl double Pixia. It's still up to chance because it's not 3 Pixias, but it's much better than actually losing to Droplet here. Because he would just go Droplet on the following turn on my Pixia, and I would lose, right? So then we set a Pixia. We have no more life points to search anymore. We have to kill him soon. So let's see what happens. So he's going to Tribute Summon. This actually triggers my Alazonia, which is why I searched it. If you guys remember, I went Release for Alazonia because I need to start banishing cards in his hand to stop his plays. So I actually directly searched this. Then we're gonna add another Pixia because it's a one-off now in my deck, and I need to guarantee I have access to Pixia at all times. And there's a chance I can also trigger this because I have Rebirth. Actually, where is Rebirth? Okay, I thought I had Rebirth engraved. Never mind. Oh yeah, it was Trito. Trito could trigger to summon from hand. So we are gonna activate Reset because I can activate both. So I'm actually gonna use it now on the Alazonia. The more banishes I get off of his hand, the easier it's gonna be to actually stop his turn. So we're gonna flip down the Alazonia again in case he searches again, which he most likely has to. Banish random card. We actually banished the MST, which is really funny. He attacks over Trito. Trito's gonna trigger now. I can pop his face down, which I'm anticipating is a Super Poly, right? This is also another reason we trigger the reset, so we can flip this face down. Although he can't damage set the Trito, right? It was Super Poly. You guys see how we actually made these crazy reads on the opponents? And we read them correctly and played around them perfectly. And this is why we get to win here. And then obviously Trito lets us summon. Now we have double Pixia. If this is droplets, he loses regardless because I can flip all of these up and it's not going to matter. If this is Super Poly, once again, doesn't matter, too late. So to play around Super Poly, what I do is I'm actually obviously going to go... we draw into a Pendulum, perfect, but we didn't really need because we can just go release here and get one of our pens. We add Mar instead because we already have the Oceaneria, right? So instead, I'm going to summon the Mar just in case there's something else. And then we're going to flip up Pixia. Now everything targeting is off. No Fall on the Virtuous to pop my field spell anymore. And then we can flip these up and gain more counters. And it doesn't matter if this is Super Poly or whatever it is. I flip up these first for Super Poly, and then I flip up the last ones. So now Super Poly is live. And now I actually see he has a toggle, which tells me guaranteed that it's Super Poly, right? Yep. So because he discards here, he actually takes 900. This is why this was my third flip up. So if he goes Super Poly, he actually takes 900. And then it's going to make it even easier to actually kill him. So he was on 62. I think we do 65 damage. Let's see. Just to ensure that we actually guaranteed have game, I can actually go... okay, we're going to go reset, flip this face down, sure, because it's an attack. I don't know what could possibly happen because I can actually just know everything he has. So there's no scenario where like... this will be face up still, and then he goes attack for game. But just in case you want to just flip it face down anyway with the reset, attack for 800 I mean, and then in the end phase he's going to take 8 counters of damage, which is 72. And that is game. That was a crazy freaking duel. We most likely should have lost this duel if he made that, like at the beginning, he negated with Vortex instead, but this actually gave us a chance. So a good sequencing of plays is what led us here to win the duel, even though like we were not favored to win, right? Now the matchup itself is actually a little easier when you actually have a decent hand, not 2 field spells and a rebirth, right? And only 1 starter and like a Mar in hand. So yeah, this is good to show you guys like how we can still win even with like bad hands, but it makes it a lot harder. Let's watch this one actually against this guy. This is a duel that went on for 9 turns. Yeah. And this is important to show as well because in the grindier games where like things go south, you need to know like how to properly play. So we're gonna go shifter on the opponent. Let's see what the opponent. Actually, we are going first here. We're gonna shifter, and then we go Trito. Again, rebirth in hand, field spell in hand. It happens a lot for some reason, which is why I used to play 1 rebirth. And then we're gonna go Oceaneria, and this is fine if this gets ashed because I have both of these. Typically, you don't want to get ashed on your pen scales when you put the second one if you don't have field spell or rebirth because you will not be able to spin them back. They're gonna be stuck and you lose, right? But in this case, we have both, so it doesn't matter. So if I didn't have either one of these, I would either want to search Rebirth or Field Spell. If you feel your opponent has a toggle and they're actually saving the Ash Blossom, you would want to go Field Spell instead. So they don't, like, you don't grab Rebirth and then you activate it and they go Ash, you have Pen stuck with no Field Spell, and then you lose, right? So we're going to go Tromeria, everything is getting banished, so Rebirth doesn't matter, none of that matters here. We're gonna actually get Tail, nice. Because he was under Shifter and he was playing 60, 60 made me think he's most likely on Board Breakers, which is why I actually start revealing for Tail and actually get it first try, which is good. That way I won't have to keep revealing for Tail. And now we can summon the tail, and then he goes Drew's Worm. Okay, technically I could have played around that by just setting the Tromeria first, but this was only live when I summoned a monster. So it's hard to actually think about Bestial because usually we don't actually play into Bestials, but like the Shifter is a dark monster. So if you go Shifter, you can think about Bestials, right? Again, Bestial Drew's doesn't matter because he's under Shifter. So even if this leaves the field, it's going to be banished, not sent to the grave. So its effect is not going to trigger. So then we reveal a Pixia, and now we have basically a perfect board into what you guys fear is like board breakers, like Raigeki, I guess. Which no one's playing Raigeki right now, but we have Tail for that. Okay, so this is the alternate board, which is weaker into things like Kultun, because you want Leon over the Tail. But we have Tail, Orgia, Tromeria, Pixia, Atl. And then we have nothing in Grave because of Shifter. So what do you guys think he's playing? I thought he was playing Snake Eyes here. So I was like, because of Shifter, we most likely free win here. But that's not the case here. We're going to go Orgia to pop him. We can't flip them back face down because no resets. So I'm going to add Leon for the following turn, and then we're going to pop him. So he goes Golem, and then let's see what he searches. He searches Wedju Temple. Okay, I'm expecting him to go Doom Dragon. Doom Dragon loses to Pixia. And his monsters are too small to actually attack over my 2500s, which I have 3 of these. The only thing that can attack over them is the Millennium, this one, the Sang Engine. And then if he goes Doom Dragon. So when I see Exodia, I'm actually, okay. I see Exodia and I'm like, okay, this guy's actually on Exodia deck. And because he put Exodia, the Forbidden One, in his back row, if this leaves the field this turn, he loses the duel immediately. You guys are going to see why. So this is actually a real win con for me now. So what he's going to do is he's going to go Sengenjin here. He's trying to out my field, okay? So what do you guys think he's going to do? He's going to make a crazy play here. Because Heart of Gaia, special summon, he can't activate the Heart of Gaia. It actually has a negate effect, where it says you can send a monster card to the graveyard and then negates a monster effect, but he can't send to the grave under Shifter. So he goes Xyz. When he goes Xyz, I'm like, shit, because this deck actually doesn't have a way to play under play through Zeus. So what he would actually do, the only way is Rebirth. Rebirth flips up Mar when he goes for any Xyz and flips him permanently face down, so he can't make the Zeus play. But they can, if they are able to still put up more Xyz and then go Zeus, you actually can't protect yourself at all because there's nothing that stops Zeus in this deck. You need non-engine. So I see this play, he attacks over Orgia, and then this is just like his Zeus, 100%. Okay, but here's the thing with Zeus, okay? I was okay with him going Zeus here. Even if I had something to stop it, I'm actually okay with him going Zeus. Why? Because if he activates Zeus on this turn, and not next turn, he will lose. Let's see what happens. He uses Zeus. Okay. So why is this the worst play ever? Because you banished your Exodia. It's banished, and that means it's gone forever. There's no way to actually get this back, usually. So his card in hand, he probably only noticed after he went Zeus here. This cannot activate. He cannot use this for the rest of the duel. Because it says show 5 Forbidden One monster cards from hand, deck, and or face-up field. Not banished. So it's gone forever now. And now you can see he sets it here. Because he can't use it. So now it's going to be a grind game. I'm just going to have to set and pass. And we have a lot of engine to draw into. And all his plays are like dead here. He can't do anything. He needs to draw into like Sengenjins and stuff like that. Which in his 60 card deck, how likely is that? He's most likely playing board breakers and stuff. Do we top deck AMR? I'm just going to have to keep setting here. I'm going to activate Field Spell to thin out my deck by putting the Field Spell. And then we have 1 banished Field Spell. Our tail is banished forever. And 1 Rebirth gone. Because SP, I was thinking he banished his Field Spell, but instead he actually goes for the Mar. I think this is a mistake. It's not going to change that much, but the issue with this play is if you get rid of the Field Spell, I actually have no more Field Spells anymore. They're completely gone. I actually have to attack for game, which is still possible because he only has 4k and I have big monsters. And then if I flip up the Mar on the following turn, because it's a mandatory effect to flip him face down, he can actually chain SP to banish it. so I can't attack over him, right? But then that would give him another turn, and then if he doesn't draw into something, I can just attack over him. So we're gonna get a Trito. Perfect. Now we have a play. So now we can activate the Trito to search a Orgia. We only have 2,600 life points left. So both of us are at low life points here. So we're gonna scale the Alazonia. It's actually worth it to keep searching here. The more I search her, it's gonna be better, even if my life points are low. He actually doesn't have a way to burn me to death, I think, unless there's like a card I don't know about in the deck. So we're gonna reveal Pixia and 2 Mars, and then we get the Pixia. Okay. So we summon these two, and then look at this play. We tribute summon Pixia because I want to get rid of this immediately to put him on a 1-turn clock here. So we're gonna attack over him, and now he's on a 1-turn clock. If he doesn't top deck, he loses. Otherwise, he would have had an additional turn, most likely. Okay, so he is gonna top deck Parolia, and then he goes Heart of Blue Eyes. Doesn't actually do anything. Can't use Ankh still for the rest of the duel. And yeah, this is just game over because now I can actually just attack for game. But I think I BM this guy. We go Fisher. Okay, sure. We're gonna go Release, and then we're gonna grab a Trito, and then I'm gonna normal summon Trito. Attack over him. We didn't need to make this play. This is BM. And then we're gonna attack directly for Pixia. And that's game. Yep. I mean, that was a long duel, but like sometimes like duels go on for this long, and it's like back and forth. If they go for something like Zeus, right? But Zeus is like it's a real issue, right? If people start playing Zeus, we might need to play stuff to counter Zeus. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully I'll make more videos soon. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one.